Ready for some more legal tea, my humans? Welcome back to my channel. So this is a follow-up. I did a video, which I'll link here and below, about the Baby Reindeer lawsuit and the Piers Morgan interview with the real-life stalker from the Netflix series Baby Reindeer, who is Fiona Harvey. And her character in the Baby Reindeer series is Martha Scott. And another interview was done by another woman who was a prominent victim of Harvey's, Wray. Wray was also easily identifiable because she was a female stalked by another female and a Scottish lawyer. People were able to put two and two together pretty quickly. In fact, Wray claims that she was identified before Harvey. Piers Morgan asks her, have you seen the series? Do you know about it? And she said yes. A few weeks back, a friend had recommended the hit Baby Reindeer for her. She started watching it. She was able to easily identify Harvey. She identified herself in the movie, and she said that it was very triggering. It just sent the wave of everything that she went through with Harvey coming back, and she saw the interview with Fiona Harvey on Piers Morgan, and she decided to come forward to set the record straight for herself. So she is a prominent victim, and I say that because back then, we're talking about the mid to late 1990s and early 2000 time period, okay? And so she said that she met Harvey after Harvey begged Wray for a job. So we talked about how Harvey claimed that she was headhunted to a job of a law firm where the people didn't even know the name of their law firm. Well, Wray said no, she needed to be a trainee or like an intern for a couple years in order to gain qualifications and experience as a part of Scotland's law thing. You don't just get a law degree and then get to go be a lawyer. You have to have all these other qualifications and certifications done. And Wray said that while she does believe that Harvey has the degree and the diploma, that she needed to get the 2-year internship or traineeship, and that she had extensions on that because her time had well run out between getting your degree and getting the traineeship. Well, Harvey begged and sent letter after letter after letter, and she used very familiar, friendly terms that made Wray think, oh, this is like an acquaintance. This is somebody I know. And so she finally gave Harvey a chance after being given a sob story about her terrible life. And I think that that's manipulative. I think that's a manipulation tactic that she used. And she was horrendous to work with, she being Harvey, because Fiona Harvey was abusive to staff, including throwing a book and hitting another staff member. She was supposed to be on the phone, getting details and things so that the acting lawyers, could help clients. But instead, Harvey was on the phone saying how terrible that law firm was. Oh, and at 9:35, pardon me, I had to check my notes. In the interview, Wray says the name of her firm was LL Firm at the time, and she knew the name of her own firm, once again catching Harvey in another lie. I did mention this. Unlike Harvey, Wray was very complimentary to Jessica Gunning's performance and said she nailed it. She was 100%. I knew right away who Harvey was supposed to be. And I would just like to make a little opine here. This is my opinion. I think Netflix would have been screwed either way they went with this, okay? I think they went with the most truthful version, which of course didn't obscure the identities enough, but I think that they would have gotten major hate either way, because the internet's going to internet, right? The internet would have found who was really who regardless. And if Netflix had tried to do obscure the identities a lot, like for Martha Scott's character, instead of putting Jessica Gunning in, if they would have chosen a thin, deep-skinned actress with straight hair to play the part of Martha Scott, they would have gotten hate for fat shaming, for making people of minority look bad. I don't think there was any way to escape anything. Either way, Netflix was going to be screwed when it came to the casting of Martha Scott, because they went with the most honest version that they could, because again, they were saying that this was the storytelling of an experience that happened to the main actor and producer Richard Gadd. Back to Laura Wray. She said that all of that stuff, the book throwing, that Fiona Harvey stalked another male member, followed him home, said some inappropriate things to some male staff members, and enough was enough. They let her go. She was fired. Not before also, Fiona Harvey had burst into Laura Wray's office because some man was in the office who wouldn't go away because Fiona owed him money. And to calm that situation down, Laura Wray paid out of her own personal bank account money to Harvey to get this man out of her office, and so that Harvey would leave her alone about asking for a subsidiary pay, which was something their office did not offer. And enough was enough. She said that she fired Harvey. Harvey said she wasn't going to leave. And Harvey claimed that after 2 weeks she walked, that she willingly left LL firm. That's not what happened. She was escorted and walked out forcibly by Laura Wray and another clerk. I would also like to say that Laura Wray claims to be a lot more kind than I ever would be, because even though, despite being a horrendous worker, only being there for 2 weeks, she did pay her out for the whole month, because that's how that law firm did things. They paid for a month of work at a time. And then the threats just kept coming. Laura Wray said that she was stalked. Her office received calls every single day, filling up the answering machine from Harvey with threats. I'll get you. You're not going to get away with this. Just all kinds of things like that for hours, filling up the entire voicemail messaging system every single day, on top of being sent letters and stuff like that. And of course, the internet was just starting up in the mid 1990s. And so emailing wasn't as prevalent. It wasn't as well known. But she was receiving faxes, and clients and other staff members of other connected firms and stuff were receiving threatening, defamatory, and abusive faxes. And people would contact Laura Wray going, hey, we got a fax from this person saying all these things. I don't know who they are. But she was so threatening to the staff members that Laura Wray and the firm provided panic buttons, because they had full-grown staff members in tears and in fear of Fiona Harvey. First, that ruins your livelihood and your reputation when you have someone sending abusive fax, FAX, not as in true information, and filling up your voice messaging system so your actual clients can't get in touch with you. And another lawyer who had fired Harvey came to Laura Wray and he was so upset because Harvey had sent social workers to his house because he falsely accused of hurting his children. And then the same thing happened, which was the final straw for Laura Wray, was when social workers came to her house and needed to talk to her about her special needs son. And she was very upset, of course, and she explained to them what happened. She was like, I know that you have a job to do, you're just doing your job, but let me tell you some situations happening in my life just to clear some things up. And the social workers told her that a woman called them multiple times, screaming at them, demanding that Ray's child be removed from her home. And they claimed that it was somebody who she went to university with. Now, of course, when you're a lawyer, just like if you're a teacher or things like that, you have to continue your education. So she needed to take some exams and get, recertified with things. So she went to a university, And she goes, there's Fiona Harvey just in my class at my university. So that means that Fiona Harvey is following her around physically as well as stalking her and harassing her over the phone, over fax, emails, etc. And she was having problems with Harvey. She went to the professor and she said, listen, you need to get her to stop. And the professor looked into it and said, Harvey's not a registered student. Okay, great. Get her out of here. Call security. Get her removed. And the professor said, I don't really like to do that. It kind of causes a scene. Brah, you think that your actual legitimate paying registered student wants to be harassed? Well, that ended up coming to fruition with the professor apologizing to Wray later on, because Harvey continued to be a problem for other students, harassing other staff members, and being the problem of life that she is for everyone, in my opinion, of what I know thus far. And this is where I think that Spidey, the behavior artist, got something wrong. I don't know if it was just to appease the algorithm gods, to make sure he wasn't crossing some terms of service. I'm not sure what it was, but he said, yes, Harvey was telling the truth that she didn't have any legal action. She never went to jail. She never got charged. She never got any of that stuff against her, which in the Baby Reindeer series, that character who is supposed to be her, Martha Scott, does get charged and has multiple things of going to jail and being convicted. And I think, this is my opinion, that that's what Gad wanted, that's what he wished would have happened in real life, because again, his situation also happened in the late 90s, early 2000s, and as Laura Ray points out at 2206 in the interview, she did put a legal proceeding against Fiona Harvey, and it was the most she could do at the time, because in that time period, stalking and harassing wasn't taken as seriously, especially not from a female stalker. That wasn't, because even male stalkers weren't taken seriously. Female stalking and harassment really wasn't taken seriously. And Gad and Wray had tried to go to the police, and the police did nothing, because again, at the time, there wasn't a legal procedure for harassing and stalking. It was really just left alone. And I don't believe anyone deserves death threats and harassment, and I understand that Fiona Harvey was receiving some of those. However, the audacity of this woman to say, oh, I'm being defamed in this Netflix series, when she lied and defamed people to try to get their children taken away, including someone with a special needs child taken away. Multiple people she lied about hurting their children. So her not having a criminal record was just because at the time of her most active stalking and harassing, there wasn't legal procedure to be had. In fact, what Laura Ray did do was get what is basically the equivalent of a restraining order, but in Scotland they called it some kind of an intermission, where you tell someone they need to stop behaving this way, and it's to protect Wray in this case from something physical harm that she believed Harvey might do. And because she claimed that Harvey is not legally read as she claims to be, that she just took it at face value, didn't realize that it was we're going to call it a restraining order, only lasted for a year and a day, but it did the job and it stopped, and Wray hadn't heard from her for 22 years. And in my opinion, this is probably what actually happened to Gad. And people want a happy ending. People want a good ending. And he wanted a good ending too to his story. Because even though in real life, Harvey didn't go to jail, he tried to get her to go to jail. They called the police, him and other victims. And I'm going to assume, just because I do know and we all understand that there are gender biases in our society, that a male being stalked and harassed by a female just isn't taken as seriously as it should be. And I think that's why the Baby Reindeer series has made such a thing. It, you know, again, just like with the Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing, where all victims of harassment and defamation, etc., need to be believed and heard and not just dismissed, or, oh, it's a guy, he's automatically, you know, lying, he's automatically the aggressor, etc. And I think that Gad was using the creative freedom of Netflix to get justice that he did not get and receive in real life. So is that whole thing a true story? No, but I think the overall experience that he had was, it was certainly real for Laura Wray, who was on the verge of having her kid taken away. Her livelihood was being disrupted, and she was dealing with all of that while her husband, who unfortunately had passed away, was suffering from a stroke. So she did have as much legal stuff that could happen that just didn't get put on a criminal record did happen to Fiona Harvey. And I think that what's making her more mad isn't the way that she was depicted. Like, I don't have any legal things, because that'd probably make her life a lot harder, right? It's hard to stalk and harass people from prison. But I think that she's more upset that she's losing control of her victims, of one of her main victims, that he's getting his side out and it's not so one-sided. He's not so trapped. And Laura Wray was very, very kind again, because when Piers said, why don't you look into the camera and tell Fiona Harvey what you want to say? And to her good-hearted credit, Laura Wray said to her, or her message was, get help, get medical help, get psychiatric help. You need help. There are things wrong and you need help. And leave people alone. Stay off the internet. Like, she was giving her some legit advice. Like, you need to get off the internet. You need to leave people alone, and you need to get help. And I agree. Fiona Harvey needs help. I hope Laura Wray and Gad and all the other people are able to find some healing and also get some counseling to help with those things. And yeah, that's my thoughts and opinions on this matter. Tell me what you think. Do you think, if you have a different perspective than me, where I think that Harvey has the audacity to sue for defamation after all the crap that she's done? Or do you think that, no, she was in the wrong, but other people can be in the wrong too? Like, yes, she defamed, but that doesn't make defaming her wrong. Are you in that camp? I can see that point of view. But yeah, you let me know, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!